Hello and welcome to this new course in which I'm going to teach you how to master Camtasia. This is Ashraf from Educational Engineering Team. Camtasia is basically a software that can do screen recording, voice recording, camera recording, and you can easily edit your videos inside it. And in this course, you will learn how to download and install this software, how to be familiar with the software interface, shortcuts, and best practices, and how to record your computer screen and audio with ideal settings. You will also learn how to edit your recordings, add elements like text, graphics, and other stuff. And now let's talk about what you will learn when you join this course. First, we will talk about the software installation, how to download and install Camtasia on your device. Then I'll explain Camtasia Interface and how to set up your recording environment. We will also cover screen recording, audio recording within the software, and we will explain the screen layout, how to pick the best layout for your needs. And there is a media library inside Camtasia, so we will cover the media and library and how to import items into this library and how to use the items that are already there. After that, we will cover projects and basic editing for video clips that you might have on your computer, and we will talk about clips and tracks and how to manipulate them. Then we will move to basic audio editing like noise filtering, volume leveling, and other stuff, and you will learn how to control your clip speed and how to crop a certain portion of your clip. We will move on to annotations and markers and why it's really important to use them in your Camtasia or in your recording, and we will cover intermediate audio editing, animations and behaviors, and some visual effects. At this point, you will be able to do anything you want with Camtasia. So we will move on to advanced editing and how to enable quizzing and hotspots inside your recording. And if you don't know, Camtasia has the green screen filter that will enable you to add anything in your background while recording if you have a green screen behind you. So it's basically a color picker tool. And we will cover masks, some basic production steps, how to create a custom production for your project, and the smart player. If you wish to publish a video in your hosting, you can use that smart player to save you a lot of time. And at the end, we will cover video hosting and what is the best hosting for your videos. I'm sure that after this course, you will be able to do anything you want with Camtasia, video editing, screen recording, animation, anything that comes in your mind. So stay tuned, see you inside. Hello and welcome to this new lesson in which I will show you how to download Camtasia. Now, go to any web browser and go to any search engine. Write Camtasia. As you can see, this is the first result. Click on it. And this is the screen recorder and video editor software. Now, this version is 2020 version. So if you want to try it out, click download free trial. Now choose your operating system. You will need to create a TechSmith account after you download your trial to activate it. And they will also, the Camtasia company or TechSmith company will send you a few emails to help you get started. Now, since we have Windows operating system, we can click Windows, download. And now the download will start. It's around 516 megabytes. That's it for this lesson. In the next lesson, we are going to install this software and create a TechSmith account. And if you want to avoid the hassle, we can simply while the download is getting the software right here, you can click here, sign in. And in the sign in page, you can click create a new account. And here I usually use my Gmail account to sign up on any service. It's the most secure way. So click sign up with Google if you have an account. If you don't, you can write your email address and create a password, then hit create an account. So I will sign up with Google. And as you can see, now this is my account and this is the download page. We will wait for the software to finish downloading. As you can see here, in the next lesson, we are going to install the software and use the email address that we just used to create our account to sign in to the software. That's it for this lesson. Thanks for watching. This is Ashraf from Coding Academy. Hello and welcome to this new lesson in which I'm going to explain to you how you can easily download and install Camtasia software. Now, go to google.com and write Camtasia. As you can see, the first result is here. Click on it and click download free trial. Choose the Windows version, and we already did all of these steps in the previous lesson. Now click save. It will take some time to download the app. Now once you are done, or once the download is done, click run. Now select your language and click OK. Click I accept, then install. It will take some time to install. So if you don't have an account yet at TechSmith website, go and click sign in and then sign up and create an account, because you will need it to activate your trial period for Camtasia software. Now click finish. As you can see, now here we have it, Camtasia 2020, and it's starting for the first time. As you can see, this is it. This is the user interface, and this is the try Camtasia for free option. Sign in to start free trial. Click sign in. And in here, you need to create an account. Hit create an account. Select your profession. Now you are signed in. Close this tab to return to TechSmith Camtasia.
Welcome to Camtasia.
As you can
This
see,
sample project will provide a quick...
This is my account and I'm signed in, and this is the default project that they have, and it will start playing once you have the software activated. Now that's it for this lesson. This is how to download and install Camtasia 2020 and how to activate the trial period. Thanks for watching this lesson. This is Ashraf from Coding Academy. Hello and welcome to this new lesson in which we are going to explain the Camtasia interface. Now, after installing the software, go to the start menu and write Camtasia. As you can see, Camtasia 2020. I always like to keep this software closed, so I stick it to the taskbar here. Right click and simply pin to taskbar. Since it's already pinned here, you can also pin it to the start menu. So click once and the software will open up. We will first explain the user interface. As you can see, now it's loading. Okay, now this is called the welcome screen. And as you can see, it has a lot of options. Here you can get started. If you want to create a new project, which is the default option for starting a project and adding your videos, recordings, images, and everything inside it. Now, if you don't want to start a new project and you just want to make a recording or a screen recording, you can hit the second one. Now, if there is a project that you were working on, you can open that project by clicking Open Project here. So Open Project is basically for opening previous projects that you have been working on. Now, if you want to create a new project that is not empty, you can use New from Template. Now, templates is basically projects that are created by Camtasia or by you. And let's say that you have a YouTube channel, you can create a template that has an intro and outro and a logo, and you just need to drag and drop your video inside it. It will make your editing way much easier. Now, as you can see here, we have the recent files that I've been working on. I can select any of them and open it up by double clicking on it. And there is also the templates. As you can see, I have a YouTube intro template, and there is the Camtasia 2020 default template. We will see that in a minute. Now, there is also some tutorials, as you can see here, how to create a webcam intro, how to turn PowerPoints into video, how to break video into smaller segments. And when you click on any of these, click once and it will open up TechSmith website with a tutorial on how to do that thing. And you can ask questions. They have a great support. Now, these are basically tutorials. Now, if you don't want the screen to appear at the beginning, you can untick this Show on Launch button. Now, let's say that we want to start from a template, New from Template, and we want to use the default template, which is Camtasia 2020 default template. Now, all what you need to do is double click this. Now it's loading the default template that comes with the software. And as you can see, this is the template that we have. Now I will explain everything in this window in the next lesson, but that's it for this lesson. If you want to open from a template, I already did that in this example. If you want to create a new project, you can simply hit New Project and it will open this window, the same window, without any material. Thanks for watching this lesson. See you next. Hello and welcome to this new lesson in which I'm going to teach you how to make your very first video. How to create a basic screen recording video from start to finish, including preparing your screen, light editing, and sharing your video. Now, let's start with the recorder. Once you start a new project in Camtasia and hit the record button, you will see this recorder. And this recorder is the first location where you have to set to start the recording. Now set up the recorder to match the goal of your video by asking yourself 3 questions. What do you want people to see? Choose to record full screen or a custom size. Now usually full screen is this, and you can choose 1080p or any other size, or you can select an area to record. Now you can simply select an area like this. If I want to record this area, and it will record things that happens inside this area. Anything that happens outside this area won't show to the viewer. And some people prefer to record the whole screen without the start menu like this, and everything inside here will be recorded and the start menu will not be recorded. Now after doing that, you need do you want people to see you? If you want people to see you, there is an option for that too. As you can see, this is camera off. Now if you click here, you can choose any of these cameras and it will appear for your viewers. Now in my case, camera is off. You can toggle it on or off depending on your preferences. Now, can they hear you? A very important part of video creation is hearing the voice of the presenter. You must choose your microphone here. Now, we recommend using a USB-based microphone. They provide the best quality if you are recording using a desktop or a laptop. Now, I have more than one mic and I'm using Rode anti-USB with the RTX voice feature for noise removal. Now, this is the microphone that I'm using and it's a USB microphone. And as you can see, as I speak, the microphone bar is moving up and down. And from here, you can change the volume of your microphone. I usually keep it at 90%. Now, the next thing, do you want the people to hear your system audio? Do you want to show them a video on your recording and you want them to hear the sound that comes out from this video? If so, you need to turn this on, otherwise turn it off. Now, once you are done, once you are satisfied, hit the record button. Now, after finish recording your video, it will go here. As you can see, this is the main interface for TechSmith Camtasia software. Now, this editor has 4 distinct areas or sections. Now, this section is called the media bin. And the media bin is where media for your current project is located. Usually you'll find your recording like this here, and it will also be placed here. Now this is the media recording, again where media for your current project is located. You can also find the library where you can drag and drop stuff for commonly used assets and the tools to enhance your videos like animations, transitions, and annotations. All of this will be explained in details in the coming lessons. And the next main section in this area is the canvas. As you can see, this is the canvas, and this acts as a preview window for your video. It also is used for editing and placement of assets and dragging and dropping from assets and library to this area. Now we also have a properties window right here, or panel. You can use this to make precise adjustments such as size, shape, color, transparency, and more. Now the 4th section is the timeline, where you can organize your tracks like video, screen recordings, audio, call outs, and other stuff. Now, once you are satisfied with the editing, and we will explain the editing in the coming lessons, we have separated sections where we explain everything, but this is a quick overview. You can export your video by simply going here and choose whether you want to export it as a local file or for a cloud destination like YouTube, Google Drive, or any other location. Now you can export or share your video to multiple locations multiple times, and you can save it to your computer for future processing. This was a quick overview of what you can do with Camtasia software. You can record your screen audio, you can record your camera, you can record your work, and you can edit your video on the timeline, get things from the library on your video. Then you can export it as a video file and upload it wherever you want. All of these things are explained in details. We have lessons to explain timeline, how to cut different locations in your video, how to import items from the library, and how to edit them, how to add annotations, how to add transitions, how to even edit your audio and apply filters to your audio. And I'm sure that all of these lessons will help you master Camtasia. Thanks for watching this lesson. See you next. Now, before we introduce menus and other stuff in this software, I will teach you how to record, edit, and share your very first clip. You will learn the Camtasia recording process, complete basic video edits, and successfully share a video. Now, to record your screen or to start a recording, you need to click the record button at the top of the tools panel. As you can see, this button. Now this opens the Camtasia Recorder, which by default is set to capture everything that happens on your screen. Now, the Camtasia Recorder will look very similar to this. As you can see here, I already have the Camtasia Recorder since I'm using the Camtasia for recording, and since it's in recording mode, you won't see these details. Now, the details are as follow. This where you choose the record or to record the full screen, or select the arrow and choose select area to record. After that, you can choose other inputs to record along with your screen. Options include webcam, microphone audio, and system audio. You can select the down arrow beside each of these options, or double arrow next to each to choose a specific microphone or webcam. Now, if you have more than one webcam, you have to select this arrow and choose the right webcam. Once you are satisfied with all of these options, you can hit the record button. Now, when you finish your recording, as you can see, I'm now recording, and this is the recording screen or the recording wizard. When you are finished recording, you can click the Camtasia Record icon or recorder icon in the taskbar, and usually you will have, as you can see here, an icon that is in red, and you have to bring it up. You will click once and it will show up on your screen, and if you want to pause your recording, you can pause it. If you are not satisfied with what you are recording, you can delete the whole recording, or you can simply click stop. Now, once you click stop, you can start editing your recording. Now, a quick tip: if you are recording and you want to pause your recording, you can simply hit F9 on your keyboard and it will pause the recording. Now, if you want to resume the recording, you can hit F9 again. Now, if you want to stop the recording using a shortcut, you can simply press F10 and it will stop the recording immediately. Now, let's take this away and let's open up one of our recordings. Now, once you are finished with one of these recordings, it will show up here in this menu. And as you can see, this is the recording file, and it will most likely be added here. This is the timeline. Now, to trim out mistakes, often we record a little extra at the beginning and end of a recording. To remove the extra content, you need to drag the end of the clip, as you can see here. Let me go to the end of the clip. You need to drag the end of this clip in, and it's basically like this. Once you reach the end, it will show you an arrow. You can drag or drop depending on exactly how much content you want to remove. Now, as you can see, we have two tracks. The first one is the video track and the second one is the audio track. Now, if you clicked on the audio track and you feel that your audio is a little bit low, you can scroll this audio bar. As you can see, now I'm increasing the volume to the max. Now I'm lowering the volume, and you can keep it in the middle, but you have to listen to your voice and make sure that it's loud enough so that people will hear you. Now, if you don't want the whole recording, the audio recording, you can simply delete it. And the video recording will stay, as you can see. Now this is the first thing. Now if you want to undo the changes, you can go to the edit menu, undo, and the recording is back again. Now it's good to know that any edits you make on the timeline, which is this area, won't affect your original recording in the media bin. So in the media bin, your recording is still here, and as you can see, it's about 43 megabytes, and it won't be affected when you drag this and remove a specific area from your recording. So it will stay the same size, as you can see here, 43 megabytes, because what you are doing here is editing your media inside the project. So the main file will remain the same. Now you can also cut out mistakes inside your recording. Let's say that we made a mistake here. Now to cut out these mistakes, you need to drag the green or red playhead. As you can see here, this is the red handle, and let's say that I want to remove this area. Now you can drag the green handle or the red handle to select the area. Then you can simply click on the cut icon, and as you can see, the area was cut. Now, as you can see here in the timeline, we have a line that indicates that a cut was made here. Now, if you selected a specific area and you no longer want to delete it, you can go outside it, and as you can see, once you go outside it, the area is still selected using these handles. So double click this and the handles will go back to your arrow. As you can see, this is a very important step to take control. Now again, if I'm here, I want these two handles to stick back here. Double click the line and everything will work like a charm. Now a stitched line appear showing you where the cut was made, and this is very important because sometimes we cut a specific location and we want to do something with it, we don't find it easily. So this is a stitched area, and that way we know that the cut was made here. Now you can add titles, annotations, effects, and more to your project. You can add a level of polish and professionalism to your videos with eye-catching titles, annotations, effects, and more. You can simply do this using this menu on the left. You can click and drag them from the Tools panel to the timeline or canvas. Let's say that we want to add a transition effect in this area, and we are going to explain this in more details in the future lessons. But you can simply go here to the transitions and you can pick any of these transitions. Let's say that you want this one. You can drag it, and there must be two clips for the transition to work. So we can simply go up here and you can right click and select split all. Now this is a clip and this is another clip. So we can add the transition between them. And as you can see, this is the transition to a local file. And if you want the transition to appear, you can increase or decrease the duration of this transition. Now to play the transition, simply export your project to a local file, as you can see, and you can decrease the transition project to a local speed. And this is how simply this is, how you can do this in a very simple way. Now this is how to add a transition. What about adding an intro to your video? Now you can select everything by simply clicking Ctrl A on your keyboard, and you can move the whole project around. Now let's say that we want to add a cursor effect. you can go to the cursor effect and select to cursor smooth or smoothing your cursor, which is basically a way for you to change your movement from this to this. And Camtasia supports this, and it's a very nice way if you are making a screen recording. So simply drag and drop and it will go into effect. Now if you look at my cursor here, you will see that it's moving steadily. A way for you to add the same thing that you can add using this menu, modify, and basically you can add animation. Without this, you will see that the cursor is moving around. Now you can also highlight your cursor. As you can see, it will add a nice yellow background. You can change the properties for any of these effects from here, the coloring, the let's say scaling for the cursor itself, the opacity, and the size of this circle. The opacity of this circle I usually choose at 30%, and the softness of this circle. Now you can also add a magnify option where this will magnify the mouse area or the cursor area, and as you can see, now you can see the text in magnified form, and you can increase or decrease the size of the magnifier. You can even add a spotlight where you only the light will be on around the cursor, other areas will be darkened. And again, you can change the size to make your student concentrate, or the listener or the one who's watching your video concentrate on this area. Now this is regarding the cursor effect. Other effects can be added like annotations, as you can see here. If you want to add annotation for a specific area and add some text, and basically you can add animation, add behavior, and we will cover these on a separated lesson. There are also a library where you can get intro for your video. Now let's say that we have this video and we are satisfied with everything. We can click Ctrl A and move it a little bit, and we can drag an intro for our video. Okay, let's drag this intro. As you can see, I'm dragging and dropping. That's it. Now this is the video intro, and you can simply change the text with your text, my text. And here you can add your name. And that's it. Now you have an intro, and you can add a transition between your video and your intro, just like before. This will be a transition, as you can see. Hello and welcome. That's it. Now this is how to add titles, annotations, effects, and there are other options that will be explained in the coming lessons. Now to export and share your video, the export option is explained in details in the menus section, but I will give you a quick overview now. Simply click export, and when you are ready to export or share your video, after clicking the export, you can select a destination, YouTube, Google Drive, or a local file. Now once you are satisfied, you can select a local file, choose 180p and before only, and next then write your project name, then hit finish. Here you can choose the folder location where you want to save your work, and that's it. Simply click finish and it will start producing the file, as you can see here. That's it for this lesson. Thanks for watching. If you have any question, please ask in the Q&A board. This is Asher from Coding Academy. Hello and welcome to this new lesson in which I'm going to explain the user interface for Camtasia 2020. Now, as you can see here, we are starting from a template that Camtasia provide, which is a default template. Now let's cover the basics. As you can see, up here we have the main menu. We have the file, edit, modify, view, export, and help. Now, most likely the help won't really be a usable menu for you. So we will concentrate on the menus and the items that we are going to use. You will use file, new project to create a new project, and there is a new project from template, just like this one. You can open a new project or get your recent projects here. You can save your current work or save it as another name if you want to have multiple copies. You can even save a project that you are working on as a template, and I already showed you the YouTube intro template that I used. Now you can also import media, recent recordings, captions, files from Google Drive, zip project, and packages. And the zip project and packages are basically a way for you to share the project with other people who have Camtasia, and they can also share projects with you, and you can simply open the project using the zip project option, and all the files will be available on your device. Now there is also export, and as you can see, it's very tied up to the import option. Export zipped project. Now if I exported this project as a zipped project, people will get the same thing that I have here, the timeline, the images, and everything that we have in this project will be on their devices, but they have to import it using the zipped project option here, which is a very important object. Now if you try to share a project without this feature, most likely people will get the project without the files inside it, so they will see an empty timeline. But here we are seeing a timeline that has a lot of elements like images, motion, and other stuff. So the best way to share your project is using export. Now there's also export project for Mac, because the Windows version is different than the Mac version. So if you did hit save as here and try to open the project in Mac, it won't open. So you need to export it as a project for Mac. And you can also make a package out of your project. It's very similar to the zip project with more features. Now there is also the project settings in the file menu. Now if we click the project settings, you can see that we have the canvas dimension. The default is 1 or 1080p, and as you can see, you can change it, and the canvas, which is this area, the design area or the project area, will change accordingly. You can choose the iOS app dimension, iOS devices, social media like Instagram, Facebook cover, or the 1080p for YouTube and Facebook videos, or fit to visible. Now I usually work with the 1080p, and you can also change it by selecting custom and change it from here. Now there's also the color. Now let's say that you have a canvas that is very small, and this is our project, and we have an empty area up and down. You can change the color for this empty area by going to this option, as you can see. Now the frame rate is a very common term in video production. 30 frames per second means that this video will display 30 pictures in 1 second, and there are other options like 25 frames per second and 60 frames per second. If you don't know what is this and how it will affect your video, keep it to the default one, which is 30 frames per second. Now 60 frames per second will mean that we have double the number of pictures displayed per second, so you have double the size of the video file, but you have more details, and the high-speed motion will appear more crisp. Now the 25 frame per second is usually used in cinematic footage for smoothing the let's say objects in your video, but I usually work with 30 frames per second. It's the best option, and I select the 1080p option as the default one. Now you can simply click apply, and that's it. This is our canvas. Now there's also the sign in feature. Now sign in here means that you have to sign in to the Camtasia website, and as you can see, it will redirect you to a web page where you have to sign in with your account, and I already have a Gmail account, so you can easily sign in to that account. Now you are signed in, close this tab and return to Camtasia. As you can see, this is my account. Now I'm signed in, and the sign in option has my email here. Now moving on, if you want to create a new screen recording, you can hit here. If you want to connect a mobile device, you can simply click connect a mobile device and follow these steps. You can install one of TechSmith mobile apps from their website, connect your computer and mobile device to the same network, then select an image or video on your TechSmith mobile app and tap share to Camtasia. And this is basically a way for you to share videos and images from your mobile device to your Camtasia project, and it's a very nice feature. It will save you time because you don't have to plug your USB cable to your mobile phone and get the images, copy them and paste them in your project. You can directly do this using this feature, and all what you have to do is download their app from techsmith.com, sign in with your account and scan this QR code, and will immediately recognize your phone. Then you can select the images from your phone and they will appear here in the library. Now the next thing is manage themes. As you can see, a theme allows you to quickly apply styles to callouts, shapes, arrows, and assists to match your personal or corporate brand. Now, a theme is basically like a Windows theme. If you want, you can choose a blue color to represent your company. Facebook is doing that. And if you are doing that, all what you need to do is change the coloring to blue. Okay, if you want the Facebook blue, you can simply use this. Now, everything in the library will follow this theme, the blue, gray, and dark gray theme, and you can even choose a font to represent your company. You can also select a logo if you have one, and we have a lot of logos. We can select any of them. Okay, let's say that we have this logo. As you can see, now it will appear on the left side of the title and subtitle and the callouts. Now if you click save, we will go back to this when we explain the callouts inside the library here, but this is basically how you can create a customized theme for your company. Now you can change the coloring and make it represent the logo, as you can see here, and hit save. That's it. Now this will be your theme, and you can also manage templates. And as you can see, I have a YouTube intro template, and there is a Camtasia 2020 default template. You can choose to delete it, rename it, or export it for others to use. And you can even download more templates by clicking here. It will redirect you to the Camtasia website. And as you can see, there are free templates and there are paid templates. So if you want this template, you can simply sign in, download it, and install it on your software. And we will explain the templates in a separated lesson. Now, you can go to the library here and import media to library, or export some of the media that you have in your library, or you can even import zipped library. And we already explained how zipped library is. It's basically a zip file that has a lot of files or folders inside it with assets that you can easily get, or you can download more assets from TechSmith website. Now we also have these two options, batch production and exit. The batch production will be explained with the export option right here. So we won't cover it now. The exit is basically to close the whole software. Now that's it for the file menu. I tried to explain it as thoroughly as possible. If you have any question regarding anything, I'm here to help. Thanks for watching. This is Ashraf from Coding Academy. Hello and welcome to this new lesson in which we are going to talk about other menus that are edit, modify, new, export, and help. Now, for the edit menu, the most important thing in this menu is the preferences. If you click here, you can see the preferences for Camtasia software, and these are the program options, timing, partners, shortcuts, project, and advanced. Now, the shortcuts from its name is where you can change the default shortcut for everything you do inside the software. So for project options, to export something, you can click Ctrl F. For the canvas settings, you can press Ctrl plus equal to zoom in on canvas. And for the timeline editing, to group a few components, you can hit Ctrl plus group plus G, and so on. As you can see, usually I leave these to the default, and I will add a separate lesson in which I'm going to talk about the most important shortcuts in Camtasia. Now, for the partners, as you can see, Camtasia software supports PowerPoint. So when you open a PowerPoint presentation, you will see that in this PowerPoint, once you have Camtasia installed, you will see a pop-up message and you just need to hit OK. And once you do that, you will have Camtasia inside here. As you can see, add-ins. This is the Camtasia toolbar. Here you can hit record, and as you can see, Camtasia launch presentation and start recording. And here you can record just audio using Camtasia 2, and here you can record your camera. Here you can show camera preview for recording, and here you can change Camtasia recording options inside PowerPoint. And as you can see, these are the main options. Camtasia add-in options. You can include a watermark if you have a picture and you want this picture to be placed here. You can increase the size of the watermark, and you can use transparency color. Now, the program, you can start recording paused. You can edit the recording in Camtasia when finished. You can enable this or disable it. At the end of the presentation, it will ask you if you want to continue recording or not. You can continue recording to say other stuff, or you can stop recording. So it will ask you. Now here, as you can see, is the frame rate, record to. Here you can choose the encoding, and this is the default mic, and this is checked if you want to capture system audio, like if you have a sound track inside your PowerPoint. And this is if you want to record from camera. It will be a picture-in-picture mode, which means that the camera will appear right here. And these are the shortcuts. If you want to record or pause, you must hit Ctrl Shift plus F9. If you want to stop the recording, you must press Ctrl Shift plus F10, and you can change these. So this is the PowerPoint Camtasia preferences. And if you want to test it out, all what you need to do is simply hit record. Now let's enable the watermark, the default watermark. Now once you hit record, it will start the presentation, as you can see here, and it will start recording. Once you are done, this is the recorder window, you can click to begin recording and the recording will start. Now once you are done, you can go and say things inside your presentation. As you can see now, it will ask you if you want to stop the recording or continue recording. I will hit stop. Now once you hit stop, it will show you a wizard to save your file, your recording, and this is the TechSmith recording file encoding or extension. Now you can save it and edit it in Camtasia. Now this is regarding PowerPoint. I won't save it. Now let's close this one. As you can see, these are the main configurations for PowerPoint, and this is the mobile sharing feature that we did discuss in the previous lesson. We say connect mobile device using the file menu. Now going back, this is where your storage folder will be placed for the mobile sharing feature. Now the timing, as you can see here, the animation default time is 1 second, the annotations is 5 seconds, the captions will appear in 4 seconds, and if you have any images, they will take 5 seconds. The placeholders, production previews, transitions, all of these have different timing. You can change the transition to 3 seconds if you want the transition to take some time, or 2 seconds, then hit OK. If you don't feel that the changes that you have made are good, you can go back to the defaults, and I always work with the defaults and change whatever I want in the timeline. Now, regarding the program setting or options, the default easing type is auto. Now you can change this depending on what you need your end. Now to just make this more clear, when we talk about the easing type, we are talking about the object animations. As an object animates, the look and feel of its emotion is called easing. In Camtasia, there are 5 options, and each one is good for different things. The default setting is auto, right here. Now, if you want to see exactly how these will reflect in your design, Camtasia website has an image that shows you exactly what each of them will do. As you can see, the exponential is the slowest one, the spring moves very fast, and the bounce moves, and as you can see, once it reaches the end, it bounces back, and the linear is basically moving from the beginning to the end at a steady pace. So depending on your project, you can choose any one of these 4, and if you don't want to change it, you can leave it to auto. Now, moving forward, as you can see, we have something called Smart Focus, which is basically a way for you to focus on what you are doing on your screen when recording. And we are going to explain this in a separated lesson. Now you can also mirror the waveform inside your project, or apply Smart Focus to clips added by default. Now Smart Focus is not applied by default, you have to enable it, and I don't recommend applying it by default because some clips are just let's say steady, and you don't want to zoom in or out of these clips, like if you are showing a PowerPoint presentation. Now you can use trimmed content and transitions, and there are other properties right here, and like this one, autosave. It's a very important property. It will enable autosave every 1 minute. You can choose 1 minute, 5 minutes. 1 minute is good because every 1 minute it will autosave your project. In case of anything happened, you will have a copy of that project. Now there is an autosave folder. You can open it up to see where it is located. As you can see, inside the Camtasia Studio 20 autosaves, to get your autosaved files if you fail to find them. Now we discussed these, and here we have the project window, and we already discussed this, which is basically the same window that you get when you click right here and go to project settings. As you can see, the canvas dimensions and the frame rate. So going back to the projects, here we have, when adding high frame rate media like 60 frames per second to a project, ask me if I want to keep it at 60 frames per second or convert it to 30 frames per second. So it will always ask you when you import a new video clip that has a different frame rate than your project, which is 30 frames per second here. Now, the next one is the advanced. As you can see, you can enable automatic upgrade check every 14 days. So it will check for new versions of Camtasia. It will ask you before upgrades check if you want to check for upgrade or not. Now here you can choose if you want to enable hardware acceleration or use software only mode. Now, if your device doesn't have a powerful graphic card, you should stick with the use software only mode. But if you have a powerful graphic card, you can select it, and this will speed up the process for your exporting of video clips. Now, this will show you long tool tips to help you use the software, and this is the temporary storage folder for your projects. And if you want to reset all of the settings, you can simply hit reset settings and to reset all of these settings. Once you are done and once you feel comfortable with these settings, just hit OK and you are good to go. That's it for the edit preferences menu, and it's a very important menu. I think that you should give it a go and change a few things and see how it works. If you have any question about anything, I'm here to help you. Thanks for watching this lesson. This is Asher from Coding Academy. Hello and welcome to this new lesson in which we are going to finish up the rest of the menus. Now, as you can see, the modify menu is basically a way for you to add the same things that you can add using this menu, and basically you can add animation, add behavior, add effect, or remove anything. As you can see, you can remove all animations, all audio points, all transitions from your project. You can even manipulate smart focus, quizzes, markers, and captions. And we are going to explain each of them in practical lessons that will come next. Now, the view menu is basically a way for you to zoom in and out, or zoom to fill, or zoom to up 100% on your canvas, which is this area. And you can also tickle your timeline, which is this area, to zoom in and out. Now, you can also change the timeline snapping. You can choose to snap any of these, like quizzes, markers, and animations. And there are other tools, as you can see here. And these are the shortcuts for these tools. Now, the export option is the most important option in this lesson. Now, you can export your project to a local file, and there is default configuration here. You can choose to export it to 720p MP4 only, or 1080p MP4 only, or you can share it to YouTube, to Google Drive, to Vimeo, or to screencast. As you can see, you have more than one option, and these are the export settings. Now, if you did choose 1080p, it will export your video or your project at these dimensions. And this is the description of the export option. And this is the file encoding, which is MP4. Now you can hit next, choose a location and the name for your project, then hit finish, and it will start exporting your file. Now you can also use this shortcut method to export your video to YouTube, Vimeo, TextMyth, Video Preview, Konami, and Screencast, plus Google Drive. you can export frame as. Now let's say that you want to export this frame, this image. You can simply hit export frame as, and you can export it as PNG, which is basically an image. Now, anywhere you go, you can export the frame as an image so that you can use it for your reference or an article. If you like the audio in your project, you can export audio only, which will export a .wav file that has the audio track right from the start of your project up to the end of your project. That's it for the export menu, and that's it for the menus in general. In the coming lessons, we are going to explain how to record, edit, and share, how to edit your video, and other stuff. Thanks for watching this lesson. This is Ashraf from Coding Academy. Hello and welcome to this new lesson in which I'm going to explain some video editing basics. You will learn how to use the canvas and timeline to make basic edits to your video. Now, let's talk about the timeline, which is this area. In Camtasia, videos are created on the timeline, moving sequentially from left to right. This is where you arrange and edit your screen recordings, audio clips, titles, and more. The timeline is organized into layers, and as you can see, this is the track 1. And basically, you can say that this is layer 1. Here you can have layer 2, and let's import one of our videos. Okay, let's import 2 of our recordings, of our screen recordings, like the ones that we made in the previous lesson. Now, this is the first one, and as you can see, the layer 1 has the video and layer 2 has the audio. Now, if you drag another one, you can see now we have layer 3 and layer 4. Now, again, the timeline is organized into layers and they are called tracks, where media on the top layer cover the ones below. And as you can see, we can only see one of them. If we move this, then we can see this one, and then we can move to this one. Now, let's talk about the canvas. The canvas is this area. As you build your project, the canvas is where you review your work. As the playhead moves along, which is this is called a playhead. As you move this playhead along the timeline, everything at that point is displayed on the canvas. And as you can see, this is our canvas. The canvas is also a working area where you position, resize, and rotate content. It's good to note that everything that's shown on the canvas is produced in the final video. So if you are seeing this, it means that this will appear on the final video. Now, as you can see, this is the second project video on layer number 3. Now, to resize it, you can simply drag and drop. And if you want to go back to this one on layer 1, which is this video, as you can see, when you select it, it's selected on the timeline. Now you can also resize it. Now we can show both of them at the same time on our screen. As you can see, this is the layer 1 and layer 3. Now layer 2 has the audio, and we don't want audio at this point. So we can simply, if you want to remove any of the layers, you can select it and hit the delete button. Now, if you want to move these, if you want to move this from layer 3 to layer 2, you can simply use your left mouse click and drag it and drop it here on layer 2. Now we have 2 layers. Now, as you can see, you can change the size by simply clicking on the edges on these circular points. Now, let's say that I want to cut this area from my video and keep the rest. Now, you must go here to the crop tool. Now, As you can see now, it has a circular or a rectangle or a square form instead of the circular form in the move and scale tool. Now if you click here again, you can simply choose exactly which area do you want to show from your recording. Now let's say that I want to show this area, and now as you can see, we won't show the whole screen, we will just show this area. And if we went back to the mouse cursor, we can scale it up or down. As you can see. Now, if you want to undo this, you can go back here and show everything. Now, if you want to move around, you can simply do this. And since we have the canvas at this size, you can zoom in to the canvas at 300% and move around using this hand. If you want to see exactly, or if you want to see the whole thing in your canvas, you can click here and select fit. Now you can see everything, and this is how your video would look. Now, if you want to remove a mistake from your timeline, to remove a mistake or unwanted section of a recording, you can drag a handle on the playhead to make a selection and click cut. So let's say that we want to remove this area, click cut, and it will be removed. This removes the selection and moves all media to the left to fill the space, and as you can see, we don't have a space because this media was moved to the left. Now to replace a mistake with a new recording, you can make a selection, let's say this one, using the playhead, and hit the delete key. This removes the selected media and leaves space on the timeline for a new recording. So you can go back here and hit the record button and record a new clip, and it will be automatically added here. Now, to create space on the timeline, in case you don't have room, now let's undo this. If you want the selection of the playhead to be removed and you don't want to remove anything, as you can see, the playhead is separated from the handles. Double click the playhead and they will stick to the handle. Okay, now sometimes you need to add media to the timeline, but there is no room. As you can see, we want to add an intro here, but there is no room to add this intro. To create space on the timeline, you can move the playhead, which is this one, select the clips, move the playhead, and select the clip that you want to add more space to. And let's say that we want to add more space here at this location. Now click the S button from your keyboard. And as you can see, once you click the S button, it did split this clip into two clips. Now you can simply drag this right here and add anything in this area. Now there's another way to do it. Let's undo this. You can select it and right click the playhead and choose split selected, and it will also split this. Now let's say that you want to split an area on all of the tracks or layers. You can simply do that. Okay, by simply moving your playhead to the area and right click and select split all. Split all will split all the clips that you have on your timeline. Again, this is the timeline and this is the canvas. Now, if you want to trim a media, to remove extra footage or fine-tune media, you can click and drag the end of a clip in. Now, let's say that we have this and we want to cut from here to here. You can simply drag it to this point. This is called trimming, and if you trim too much, simply drag the clip back to restore your video. And as you can see, your video is back. Now, once you trim it, it will go black and your video will end here. If you want to restore it, as you can see, it's back. Now, if you want to zoom the timeline so that you can edit things in a more accurate way, you can fine-tune your editing by zooming in using the zoom in slider. As you can see, this is me zooming out, and as you can see, I can see the whole clip, about 10 or 11 minutes of content. Now, if you zoom too much or want to see your project in full, you can simply drag this to the left side. Now, if you want to see your project in details, as you can see, here we only see from 11:34 to 11:38. So we are only looking at 4 seconds of our content. And as you can see, when you want to move in your timeline, it will take a lot of time to go from the beginning to the end. Okay. I usually leave it in the middle, as you can see, right there. Now, if you are doing measure cuts, you can decrease it and you can easily add the cuts. Otherwise, you can zoom in to fine-tune editing. That's it for this lesson. What we have introduced here is video editing basics. Now, in the next lesson, we are going to discuss the video editing basics regarding the canvas. We try to cover most of the basic things on the timeline, but that's it for this lesson. Thanks for watching. This is Ashraf from Coding Academy. Hello and welcome to this new lesson in which I'm going to teach you how you can work with the canvas. You will learn to work with the media on the canvas and adjust their properties in the properties panel. Now, the first thing that you need to know is that designing your video starts from the canvas, which is this black area. The canvas is where you design your video, use it to position, resize, and rotate media. It's also where you adjust the look and feel of callouts and change their text. Now first, let's import a media. Let's import these two. Now drag these two and drop them here. As you can see here, we have the media. Now, if you want to zoom in and out in the timeline panel, you can use this, or you can press Ctrl and your mouse scroll. Now, simply select this, drag it and drop it here, and trim it just like what we explained in the previous lesson by dragging the end of the video. Now, we have this video, and this is the canvas. As you build your project, you must keep in mind that everything that is visible on the canvas is produced in the final video. If parts of a recording or other media pass over the edge of the canvas, Camtasia grays them out to indicate they won't appear in the final video. As you can see, this is part of our video and it's grayed out because it won't appear on our video because we scaled it up. Now again, as you can see, it's showing you the details grayed out. Only this will be shown on the canvas. Now let's scale this. Now to scale this, you simply need to drag and drop. As you can see, select, drag and drop. Drag the edge, and now we have scaled the two recordings. Now to crop them, you can simply use this tool. Click here, the crop tool, and crop the video. Go back here to the edit and edit this. Now we have two videos. If you want to add media, you can use the library here. As you build your project, you can add media by clicking and dragging the media directly to the canvas. So you can directly select the location where you want the media to be pasted. Let's say the end of the video, and simply drag and drop the media and place it inside your video. Now, as you can see, we have this media after our video. So the encoding and the edges, then the media will appear. Now again, you can change the scaling for this media. To modify that text, if your media has text, you can simply scroll to the area where there is a text, and let's zoom in a little bit. Now you can double click this and change it. You can start typing. Okay, double click and type Camtasia. As you can see, this is how easy it is to change the text using the canvas. Now going back to the library, there is also something called a properties panel. And as you can see, this is the location of the properties panel. To adjust the style or fine-tune media on the canvas, you can use the properties panel. Now, when you select any of these medias, as you can see, this is a recording, you can change its properties using this properties panel. This panel displays the properties for the selected media and organizes them into tabs. The first tab is an object's visual properties, and the following tab change depending on the type of media selected. So in case of this media, we have the audio properties and we have the cursor properties. In this example, if we added an annotation, okay, let's first change the properties right here. You can scale this media, which is selected here, using this scaling bar. You can change the opacity. You can even rotate, as you can see, the video. You can change its position, as you can see, and you can change the audio or mix to mono. This is the gain, and you can increase or decrease as you can see here, the cursor properties, and change the opacity. Now, if you want to add another thing, you can add another property for your project. Let's say that we have this project. We can go and add a cursor effect like this one. And as you can see, now we have one more property in the cursor section. We can change the height. This is the cursor, as you can see. Let me zoom in. You can change the opacity, the size of the circle, the softness, and the scale size. So depending on the object and the properties, you might find different things right here. Now, if you click here, you can see that we have a theme for the video that we dragged from the media library. You can even scale it up or down, change the opacity, change the gain, and so on. That's it for the properties panel inside Camtasia. If you have any question about anything, please ask in the Q&A board. Thanks for watching. This is Ashraf from Coding Academy. Hello and welcome to this new lesson in which we are going to talk about annotations, callouts, and titles. You will learn to improve your video and focus your users' attention with annotations and customizable visuals from Camtasia library. Now, let's get started with annotations. You can simply add annotations by clicking here and select the type of annotation that you want to use. You can add and customize annotations to point out important details in your video. Let's first import a media. Drag it and drop it in your timeline. go to Annotations. Now, to add an annotation, click and drag one from the Tools panel to the timeline or the canvas. Now, let's say that we want to point out this import media. You can simply drag it and drop it here or here. It will work. And in case you are dropping the annotation here, it will be placed exactly where your let's say handle here is placed in your timeline. So now it's placed at the beginning of our timeline. So the annotation, when dragged to the canvas, will be placed at the beginning. Now, if we deleted this, if we drag the annotation to the timeline itself, we can control the location of the placement. So we can place it whenever we want. Let's say that we want to place it here. Now you can rotate it by doing this and make it point to this, which is the import media button here. Now you can double click the annotation to change the text and click here. As you can see, this is the font type, the background color, and the size of the text itself. As you can see, you can add a line underneath, you can change the font type, and more properties that you can check. Okay, as you can see, this is a weird text. Okay, let's find something. Okay, click here. Now this is the vertical spacing and this is the horizontal spacing between letters. There is auto resize, auto rotate, and here you can choose the alignment and you can change it to bold. And as you can see here, you can change other properties. As you can see here, this is the opacity of the arrow, this is the color, and this is the type of annotation. Now you can change it to rectangle, you can change it to this shape or to this shape, or back to the original shape. Now to change the size, position, and rotation of annotation, you can simply drag it using your mouse on the canvas, and you can change the sizing. Now that's it for the annotation. Let's talk about shapes and blur. Now, if you went to annotation, you can see that here we have arrows and lines, and here we have shapes, and here we have special blur and highlight effects. To hide sensitive information, you can use shapes and blur. You can place a shape, go to a specific location. Let's say that we want to hide this area. Let's zoom in. We can add a shape to hide this area. And as you can see, it won't hide the whole area. We want to hide up to this point. So you need to drag this shape to make sure that it will appear all over the video. Now, as you can see, you cannot see what's underneath the shape. Now, the more convenient way of hiding things is using the special blur and highlight effects. Now you can drag and drop the blur effect, as you can see here, and change the visibility period up to this point. Okay, this point. Now drag and drop here. Now you can change the intensity of the blur effect, as you can see, or you can invert it and blur everything and show this area. If you want a more, let's say, a more convenient way, you can use the Pixelate feature. Okay, let's go back. This is the Pixelate feature. And as you can see, it will pixelate this area and none of the details will be readable. As you can see, It's like blurring, but it has a more intensive way of hiding things. Now you can adjust the intensity of the blur and adjust the size and the position in the properties panel as well. As you can see, this is the size and this is the opacity. Now let's talk about the sketch motion. Now the sketch motion is a very nice feature. If you went to annotation and you clicked here, sketch motion callouts, it's a very nice way to draw on your video and point out important information. Again, let's apply the same example to this area. And let's say that you want to take the student attention to this button. You can drag this arrow and drop it right here. You can rotate it and place it here. Now, as you can see, as we move in the timeline, you can see that the arrow is being drawn. Now let's go back here. Hello and welcome. See, it did draw the arrow. Now you can add a circular form or a rectangle and it will do the same. Hello and welcome. It's a very nice way. Now to change the size, position and rotation of a sketch motion, you can click and drag the handles around it, as you can see here. So you can make it around this button. Now you can change the draw time in the properties panel to adjust the time it takes to draw the callout. And as you can see, we have this panel and we have a draw time here. You can change it to 3 seconds, so it will take more time to draw, as you can see. Hello and welcome to this new lesson in which, and you can make it appear for a longer period. As you can see, it will draw in 3 seconds. Hello and welcome to this new lesson in which I'm going to teach you how you can work with. Now you can increase the draw time up to 5 seconds, but increasing it more than 5 seconds won't be reasonable. Hello and welcome to this new lesson in which I'm going to teach you how you can work with the canvas. That's it. Now let's talk about the lower thirds. The lower thirds is basically a way to add additional information to your video with a pre-made lower third or a pre-made template. To add a lower third, you can click and drag one from the tools panel to the timeline on the canvas. And to do that, simply go to the library and select lower thirds, and from here you can drag one of the lower thirds and place it here. And as you can see, we will place it here on the timeline. As we move in, it will show TextSmith Camtasia. Now, if you want to change the text, double click and add your name. Now, if you let your video play, let's remove the sound. As you can see, Ashraf Camtasia. It's showing my name. And this is how easy it is to add a lower third. And as you can see here, you can change the text and you can change the text properties, size, font, and other stuff, and even the color. And here you can scale it up or down. And it's a very nice way. It's mainly used in YouTube videos to introduce the speaker to people if you have more than one speaker. And you can change its text, color, and more in the properties panel by simply selecting the lower third. Now, you can also apply a theme to an annotation. When you work with annotations, callouts, or text in a project, easily apply your theme to change the look and feel. Now to do this, select the annotation that you want to apply your theme to and open the properties panel. As you can see, this is the callout, and here we have the theme, and you can simply select default or manage themes. Now the manage themes, we did manage this theme in a previous lesson and called it a default. You can add your own theme and let's call it code. And this is the coloring for the new theme that's called code. You can change it, but I like pink. Okay, click save. Now when you click here and select code, as you can see, the coloring and the text type changed to the new theme. Now you can manage the new theme and change the font type, the logo, the coloring to make it work with your company or your website colors. And you can use the color picker to pick any color from your video and use it. That's it. As you can see, we have the new color here. Now, that's it for the annotations, callouts, and titles. If you have any questions, please ask in the Q&A board. This is Ashraf from Coding Academy. Hello and welcome to this new lesson in which we are going to explain the export and share feature. You will learn how to export a project as a video file on your computer or share it to popular web destinations. Now, to export your video, you need to click the export button, but first let's import a media. Drag it and drop it here. Now, click the export button to view all the export options available in Camtasia. The first option exports the project as a video file on your computer. The following options export to web services, which require you to sign in to an account. Now, Camtasia recommends Screencast for quick and free video sharing and video review, where you upload videos, then invite colleagues or friends to review them. Now, there is another option, which is export a project as a .zip file. When finished with a project like this, we highly recommend you export it as a zip file by going to File and then go to the Export option, choose Zipped Project. Now you can choose a title for your project, and as you can see, it will be .zip. Now this zips all of the media used in the project into one file, which means that the next time you use the project, you have all of the original media. Inside the zip file is the Camtasia project file, the screen recordings, and any other media used in the projects or in the project, like images, callouts, audio, or properties. Now, in order to use a zipped file that someone has sent to you or that you have saved a long time ago, you can simply go to the file and click Import Zip Project. This imports the zipped content into a new project in your machine, and you can directly start working on that. Now, the last thing that I need to mention regarding the export option, which I do recommend, is going to export, select local file, and select the 1080p MP4 only. This is the best option to export videos in Camtasia. Now click Next, write your video file name, choose a folder to save your video file, and hit the Finish button, and it will start exporting your video. As you can see, it will be exported in MP4 format. Now, if you want to create your own customized export option, you can go to Export, Custom Production, and select New Custom Production. From here, you can select the format for your video file. I will choose MP4. Click Next. Now, do you want to produce it with controller? Remove this and we will explain it in a future lesson. Now, click Size, and if you want other dimensions, you can change the width and height of your video right here. You can change your video settings, and when you go up to 100%, you will see this message. Setting quality above 75% often results in a much larger file with little improvements in visual quality. So We do recommend setting this at 74, which is the highest at the lowest file size, the highest quality for the lowest file size. Now the frame rate is 30, which is the best one, and the audio settings, you can change this to whatever you want, the bitrate, and you can change the encoding, but I usually leave all of these to the default. I just change this one to 74% and the size to 1080p to 1920. That's it. Now click next, and you can add your company logo here, include your watermark, and you should bring a logo that has a PNG transparency background. And as you can see, it will appear like that. You can change the opacity. You can scale it up or down. I usually leave it at 15% and leave the opacity at 15% too, which is the best experience for viewers. Now you can change the location, but the bottom right corner is the best one. Now click OK, click next. Name your settings. Let's call it 1080p Camtasia logo. And now you can choose the location where you want to save the output file. Let's say that we want to save it in the pictures folder. That's it. Now click finish. It will start rendering your video using the settings that you have set. Now, let's say that you want to use these settings and make them default, so you can see them in this list. You can do this by simply clicking on Add Edit Preset, and as you can see, you can click New, name it 1080p Camtasia logo, choose MP4, click next. The same thing here and here. We want to change this to 1080p 74%, and that's it. Click next, change the logo with the one that you want. Now, when you want to export your video, you can go to Custom Production and select this, which is 1080p Camtasia logo, which is the one that we just created. And this is the way I do most of my export settings. As you can see here, I have a preset that's called 1080 clean, which means that this will produce my video at 1080p without logo and at 74% quality rate, and it's the best one that I have ever used. Anything above that won't improve the quality significantly, but it will increase the file size and make it huge. That's it for this lesson. I hope that you did understand how to export your video or your recording from Camtasia. Thanks for watching. This is Ashraf from Coding Academy. Hello and welcome to this new lesson in which we are going to discuss the editing audio feature. You will learn to edit audio clips, adjust their volume, read waveforms, and use audio effects. Now, let's first drag a recording and put it on our timeline. Let's remove the video recording and leave the audio. As you can see, this is the audio recording and it's on our timeline. Now, audio is edited on the timeline the same way you would edit video clips. Click and drag to position clips. Now select the mistake that you have made and simply move the lever, hit the cut, and it will cut the location in your audio where there is a mistake. Now you can also split the audio clip, as you can see, into two separated audio clips. using the timeline without any additional tools. Now you can also trim and even add effects on this audio. Now to adjust the volume of a clip, select it, and as you can see, we have a green audio line. You can move it up or down to adjust the volume. When you move it up, you will increase the volume, and when you move it down, you will decrease the volume, as you can see here. Now it's important to note each clip on the timeline has its own audio line, which is adjusted separately. So if we split it this, we can lower this and increase the volume in this. So they are treated differently, as you can see. It doesn't, if they are beside each other, as you can see, you are only controlling one of them. You are not controlling these two. Most people think that because they look like this and they are close to each other, you can drag this and everything will move. It's not the case. Now, you can also add audio points. To adjust the volume for only part of a clip, use audio points. Now let's say that we have this part. To add audio points, double click the audio line right here. As you can see, now we have a point. Now you can click and drag an audio point to change the volume. As you can see, I'm changing the location of the audio point and I'm changing the volume. Usually, we start the video with a fade effect and we end it with a fade out effect. You can add an audio point here and make it look like this, as you can see. Now, you can separate audio and video. Sometimes you import media. Now let's import this file. And as you can see, this file is a video file that has audio. You can simply separate audio from video if it does have audio, but since that video file doesn't have audio, we don't have this option enabled. Let's add other media. Okay, we have this one and we don't want all of it. We just want part of it. Okay. Now, as you can see, this is a video file. We can right click and select separate audio and video. Now we have two files, an audio file and a video file. Combined together with the screen video is a recording of the system audio. There are the sounds, or these are the sounds that come from your computer, such as alerts, music, and more. Now to edit the system audio, I recommend you right click the clip and do the exact thing that I just did, which is separate audio and video. This makes the system audio its own clip on the timeline. So you can delete it or you can adjust it easily. Now, let's finish up with the audio effects. Camtasia's audio effects are a quick way to add audio points, create fade effects, and make other common changes to audio clips. You can choose the audio effects by simply clicking more, select audio effects, and you have them here. Now, choose the audio effects tab and drag an effect to a video or an audio clip. Now you can drag this clip, and as you can see, now we have the fade in effect for the audio. We don't have a fade out, so you can add it. Now we have a fade out effect and you can auto adjust it, as you can see. Now if there is noise, you can use the noise removal by dragging and dropping this here, and you can adjust the sensitivity of the noise removal by simply changing the sensitivity and the amount until you feel that the noise is no longer affecting your video. Now you can also change the speed of your audio by simply increasing this number 2x, 3x, or 4x. And this will increase the sound of your video, but it won't increase the video speeds. And there is also the audio compression. If you want to auto level your audio and make it at the same volume as you can see here, you can use the audio compression. Now the ones that I usually use are fade in and fade out. Now the noise removal needs a lot of work, so I recommend you adjust your mic to not pick up noise from the first place. The noise removal does do a very great job, but you need to use it wisely. You need to analyze your video or your audio at first, then try to move these and test out the result. You must keep listening to your audio until you reach a point where your audio is without noise, but still you can hear your own voice in a good way. Because most of the noise removal software affect the person voice and makes it a little bit robotic when you remove the noise. Okay, so use this feature wisely, and we can have a separated lesson to explain the noise removal feature in Camtasia and the best settings to use depending on your situation. That's it for this lesson. Thanks for watching. This is Ashraf from Coding Academy. Hello and welcome to this new lesson in which I'm going to teach you the zoom and pan with animations feature. You will learn to guide and focus viewers' attention with zoom and pan animations. Now, let's talk about the zoom your video feature. Select animations in the tools bar, as you can see here, and switch to the animations tab. Now, click the scale up and animation to the clip you want to zoom, and let's say that we want to zoom this clip. This adds an animation to the clip with a default zoom already applied. Now to preview the animation, click and drag the playhead, and as you can see here, we have this playhead. As you can see, this is a scale up animation, and this is the arrow that indicates the animation. Okay, now to customize the zoom, to change when a zoom occurs, you can click and drag the animation arrow. To adjust the length of an animation, you can click and drag either end of the arrows. Now, first, let's adjust the animation or the zoom amount by clicking this. And as you can see, when you click that, you need to click, okay, I will zoom in even more to this. Now, when the zoom in happens or the scale up happens, it will zoom to the location that I have chosen, as you can see. If you want to change it, you can simply click this dot or this circle and then play with the zoom. I will make it zoom to this location. Again, as you can see, it's zooming to this location. Now, let's say that I want the duration or the length of the animation to be increased. I can simply do that by dragging the circle. As you can see, now it will take more time to zoom. Okay, as you can see, let's play the video on the canvas. Now it's taking more time to zoom to this location. And again, you can adjust the length of the zoom by dragging the circle. Now, another way to change the scaling is selecting the clip, selecting the circle, and going here and changing this to scale up and down, as you can see. So now the animation will be more, will scale up the video even more. Now, again, when you work with this, you must see what you have done each time you do a new edit to the animation to make sure that nothing is wrong. Now, to pan your video or to pan a clip, you can drag the custom animation to where you want to pan. Then reposition the screen recording on the canvas. The clip will smoothly animate from one location to the next. And now to do that, you need to go here. Let's zoom this. Okay. As you can see, this is our main clip. And let's return it to the original dimension. Now, drag the zoom and pan effect right here, the custom one, and drag it and drop it wherever you want in the clip, let's say at this point. And after doing that, move this to the left. Now, as you can see, when you play it, it will move the whole clip to the left, just like what I did. Again, you can increase the length and do other edits depending on your needs. Now, another good thing that you can work with is zooms or zooms and pans. To work with zooms and pans, as you work with zooms, the position of the playhead is critical to success. To change how a clip looks at the end of a zoom or pan, the playhead must be positioned after the animation arrow. And to change how a clip looks at the beginning of a zoom or pan, the playhead must be positioned before the animation arrow. Now, if the playhead is in the middle of an animation arrow, always move it to one of the ends before you work with a clip. Now let's say that we are here and we want to work with the zoom and pan feature. Now go here to the zoom and pan feature and simply click actual size or zoom to a specific area. Let's say that we want to zoom to this particular area on our design. As you can see here, the playhead is after the arrow. Now if you want to move the original location, we must select, okay, let's zoom in. We must select this area and return this here. Now let's play it. As you can see, again, to change the location or the position of the zoom and pan animation before the zoom happens, you need to move the playhead to before the arrow. And if you want to change the after zoom effect, you need to move the playhead to the end of the arrow or the arrowhead right here, and never leave it in the middle. Okay, that's it. Now the zoom and pan feature works best using this wizard. As you can see, you can move the zoom to wherever you want. You can concentrate on this area, as you can see here. Now when you play it, it will zoom in. That's it. This is how you can play with animations and zoom and pan. Depending on your recording, you might need this to let's say concentrate or drive user attention to a specific area. That's it for this lesson. Thanks for watching. This is Ashraf from Coding Academy. Hello and welcome to this new lesson in which I'm going to explain to you how to use a template. You will learn how to use templates to create consistent looking videos for yourself or your teammates. Now, the first thing that you can do is click File, New Project from Template, and let's start with Camtasia 2020 default template. Now, as you can see, this is the template and we already have things on the timeline, and we have an intro and outro, and this is the screen video recording. Now let's import a video recording right here. Now, as you can see, this is the placeholder. You can replace media or easily replace the placeholder on the timeline with content from your media bin or library. Select the media and drag it to the timeline, and you can easily replace this placeholder by hovering your mouse over the placeholder to add your media here. Now once it turns yellow, your media will be added here. Now you have more than one option. Replace from start, replace from end, replace with clip speed. Okay, select replace from start and it will adjust your media, as you can see here, to fit this area. Now it did cut the rest of your recording because it only has like 50 seconds. Now if you want the whole video to be placed, okay, click undo again, drag and drop again. Once it turns yellow, leave it. Now replace. Once you select replace, it will add the media to this location, and as you can see, we have the same intro and the same outro. When the outline turns green, release the mouse button and choose replace, which is the right option that will place your whole media in here. Now if you want to remove anything, simply drag this playhead and these two green and red placeholders and select the cut. Okay, now there are quick properties for different things inside our template. Now this is the intro. You can click once and you can change the title here and the subtext here and add your logo here from the properties panel. And the same thing for the outro. You can change the title, your website, and the logo. Now at the end, if you created a project and you think that you can use it as a template, let's say that you have a YouTube channel and you are creating the same intros and outros for all of your videos, you can easily save your project as a template for future use by simply going to File, Save Project as Template. And this will give you this window in which you have to write your template name. Let's name it YouTube Test and click OK. Now you have a new template. If you want to open new project from template, you will find it here. It's called YouTube Test. You can even download more templates from Camtasia website. They have a lot of templates that you can use. As you can see here, you can simply get any of these by signing into your Camtasia account and use any of these templates. As you can see, this is a very nice template. You can sign in and download it and get it inside your Camtasia. That's it for the templates. They will make your life way much easier if you are doing things repeatedly, like the same intro, the same outro, the same lower thirds. So I highly recommend using them. Thanks for watching this lesson. This is Asher from Coding Academy.